right. Hello, everyone. Come on in to All Things Odd. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips.
And I'm Dr. Hannah Galloway.
All right. So we have a really fun guest. But before we get there today, we're going to talk about our YouTube channel. So I'm going to put that up real quick so Dr. Galloway can talk about that. And then we will get this shared out.
Yes, so you can see our YouTube channel here. So you can go to YouTube, type in our business name. You can follow us there, and then you can get notifications about new episodes. We always do new episodes on Thursday at 12:30 Mountain Time, but sometimes it's not every single week. So that way you can kind of see if we've got new episodes. And there's also some playlists that you can send out. So it's just kind of a good way to send out our content to somebody that doesn't have, Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take that down real quick and just kind of talk a little bit about our guest today. So we have a guest and I met her on Clubhouse. So for some of you who don't know what Clubhouse is, basically it is an audio only app and you meet a lot of really cool people on there. I have been on it since for about 2 years now. And so I host a morning room on Wednesdays with a couple of people, Sloan Reed, who is the former Mrs. Tennessee, and then also our buddy Anthony Waite. And so if you've caught us there, that would be Wednesday mornings. We also host a book club, and then on Sundays, and then also at one point, a bunch of audiologists had a room in the Talk Nerdy to Me club, which is now a house. And we would come on Mondays with some of our colleagues and talk about some different topics. So those are fun. They're all recorded, so people can always go back and listen to them. But Kellina, who is our guest today, she popped into one of our rooms. And she'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was a morning room. It wasn't a hearing room, but it was a morning room. And she popped in and I started to notice you can look at people's profiles and kind of see what they're about. And so something caught my eye. And that's why I wanted to have her come on the show. But in addition, she was using one of the really cool ways that Clubhouse has been able to really help out people that have hearing loss because they now have captions. And so there were auto-generated captions that were in real time that you could follow along in the audio only app, which for someone that has a hearing loss can be really difficult, right? And so you can also watch the room go by captions, as well as before we used to have to say, okay, I'm finished or I'm done, as people could follow conversations of who was talking, right? So Kellina popped up and I got to spend some time with her and get to know a little bit more about her. And what she does is really interesting. And so we're going to bring her in without further ado. So welcome, Kellina. I think your mic is off, so you can turn it on.
Okay, there you go. Hello, everybody.
No, that's awesome. So welcome. And I'm going to also, let me put up a little ticker here so people know where to follow us. And then also I'm going to put your information up here too. Okay, so Kellina, you were really kind of a cool person for me to meet because the first thing that I was able to see that we had in common was obviously hearing loss and you with the deaf community, right? And as I looked at your profile, you talked about being a deaf advocate in the community. And so before we even get there, I want to have you share, especially because it's the first time you're meeting Dr. Galloway as well, but I want you to share a little bit more about your story, who you are, what you do, what got you to this point. I know you're also a mental health coach that you're studying for too. So even include kind of that and just kind of share with our listeners and people who are joining in a little bit more about your story.
For sure. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Hi, everybody. My name is Kellina, and I am so many things, honestly. So I'm an author, life coach, an international speaker, and advocate for the deaf community, a chief advocate. So what I do is really teach people what it's like to be deaf in terms of the hearing community. How can the hearing community communicate and collaborate better with the deaf community? I feel like a lot of time, for me especially when I was growing up, I would actually attend to a hearing school all my life. And a lot of teachers didn't know how to accommodate me. And I felt like this should not be an issue for those who are struggling to communicate, because I did struggle a lot when I was in school. And, and then that lead me to write my book because I never met a deaf author. And that's why I continue to write my book, because if you notice, a lot of the hearing community never read a book by a deaf author. And I do want to just spread my message so much in my book just to show and teach the young community that it's okay to be different. It's okay not to know what it's like to be deaf. And so it's super important. Also, as well, I'm a life coach. So I specialize in depression, anxiety, and self-esteem for young adults who have a disability. And yeah, so that is definitely my book. And so excited. I can't believe my book became bestseller and author on Amazon.
Congratulations.
So it's really crazy. I really didn't think I would come this far. And yeah, if you're an audiologist and you know a client that's going through a hard time, especially mental health challenges, definitely recommend them to me because I do 3 different options: individual, family, and couples as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much about me.
That's awesome. So you're still in school, correct? Or
Yeah,
you're done?
I'm done. I'm done
Oh,
school.
you're done. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. So
I'm
I kind of want to
done.
leave this up for a little bit longer too, so people can kind of see that you're an author of your book. So congratulations. And talk to us a little bit more, as you said that you are kind of in helping some different sessions. Like what exactly do you do in your sessions?
Yeah, for sure. So in my sessions, I focus on positive psychology. So what I focus on is basically the goal. What is the end goal? I know a lot of us when we go see a therapist and counselor, we talk so much about our past. A lot of time we don't want to talk about past. We're like, what's the point? And I met people who said, Kellina, I'm so tired of talking about my past. Can we just go to teach me get this far? So that's what I do. I basically focus on how can we improve your mental health? What are the steps that we can do? What are the strategies that we can come with? I basically focus on the present than the past. And for me personally, I feel like it's just more beneficial for a lot of people because I know, once again, not everybody wants to talk about their past. For me personally, I hate talking about my past, but not everybody feel comfortable talking about it. People just need someone to support and also just guide them in life because I know a lot of us sometimes we can feel like we're stuck and we don't have someone outside the box to talk to. So that's what I basically do.
Awesome. And is it both online and in person?
It's always online just because a lot of people said it's more convenient. So I think, okay, online it is.
Well, I'm excited to learn about your book. Memoirs and like autobiographies are kind of my favorite type of reading material. So I have actually looked for a book similar just about, somebody's deaf experience in a hearing world. And I did read one or part of one, and it was called Shouting Doesn't Help. And it was, also just kind of about the deaf experience. And I've also read a book about a child who grew up with a deaf parent. And that sort of experience, like navigating the two worlds. So I'm really interested to read your book, and I'm that's so awesome to hear that you're a best-selling author on Amazon, because that means a lot of people are going to be able to access that content.
Thank you.
And when did you publish your book?
I actually published it last year, to be honest. So It's been so fast, it's so new, and yeah.
Awesome.
Very
So,
cool.
for people that are watching this or catching the replay, we posted her Instagram handle, Deaf Queen Boss, on there because her Instagram handle and her page is just very vibrant, right? That yellow comes out, right? And I've also watched some of your reels too. You're kind of out and about, and the way that I described you to Hannah was that you're very vibrant, right? So, what are some of the passions? What are some of your passions that you love to do? Whether it's what you do on a daily basis, whether it is being a deaf queen boss, what's your passion as a deaf queen boss?
My passion is really like doing this, honestly, going on podcasts, talking to people, really educating people, because 90% of the time when I go on podcasts, people are just mind blowing about me. They're like, you're deaf and you can hear me. Teach me more. So I love teaching people what it's like to be deaf. And I do podcast daily basic, honestly, but I love it and I enjoy it. And I feel like the more you get yourself out there, the more you educate people, the more people know. And I feel like for me personally, it's very important that I do continue my journey, rather it's just, walking down the street and I'm talking to someone. I'm always about educating other people. And that's what I do daily basis. And also too, I love creating content for my Instagram. I don't know why. I feel like I'm obsessed with it. Like I just post so many things and I just post all these mental health stuff. So it just, that's what I love doing.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question, see if I can pull up your Instagram and show it here, here as well. Okay, so as an advocate, you're always walking around, like you said, as you're walking around, you're always ready to share, right, and educate. So while we're here, I want you to share just as audiologists first, right? So as audiologists that are tuning in, how can audiologists be better advocates? Like, what have you seen? What can you see that we do better, that we could do better, I should say?
For sure. There's a lot of tips for audiologists, but not so much. So the first thing I noticed when I was growing up, my audiologist was always very supportive. They always asked me like, "How is my personal life?" And a lot of time, people, especially the deaf community, never built that really good relationship with the audiologist compared to me. Like my audiologist, like my best friend. Like they know if I'm late, they don't need to call me. I'm gonna be late. So that's how like really good relationship we built. And for audiologists, it's super important to build that relationship with your client, just because we also look up to you because you are our number one best friend. And second, always support in terms of finding resources. Always offer them resources. For me, I didn't even know there was a deaf denture by my house this whole time. And I told my audiologist, why did you not tell me this? And so always be open and always be consistently just letting them know about resources and what they offer. And also too, it's not based on my experience, but from based on the deaf community, they told me that they wish that the audiologist learn a little bit of sign language, ASL, because some don't do. So my audiologist knows ASL, so I can't really speak on that behalf. And also too, just don't forget to. I know a lot of times audiologists forget to turn their head when they're talking, especially when they're trying to fix their hearing aid. So sometimes they forget to turn around when they're talking to us. And also too, always do a follow up. I really appreciate it if audiologists follow up once a month just to check up on clients, how their hearing aids are. Just because again, you want to build that good relationship with your client. It's super important. Your client comes first. And that's the one thing I love about my audiologist office is that I feel like I come first at the end of the day, and I also too I know that there's a long wait time. Try to prevent the long wait time, especially you want to respect your time, the other people's time.
Are you saying long wait time between appointments or long wait time when you actually arrive to the office?
Yeah.
And then get called back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both. Yeah.
Both. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Both. Yeah. So just be mindful and be cautious. And that's pretty much my advice are for audiologists. Really, just continue being a great audiologist. We are grateful for all of you guys. Again, we would not build this confidence without you guys. My audiologist, my best friend, honestly. I don't know what I did. If my hearing aid did not work, oh my God. I know I can pick up the phone and be like, listen, I am coming. Open the office for 5 minutes.
Well, and I think that's good, right? And I think that's why we're having this conversation too, because we see patients every day, right? And we just kind of do what we do to the best of our ability. We know a lot of great audiologists out there that are really good at what they do as well. But hearing it from your point of view, and especially because you've had a hearing loss, right, for many years, to really hear it from you, just to say, okay, how can audiologists be better advocates, right? And how can we work better, right?
Well, and we do kind of have, Natalie and I have kind of a short list of patients that we know that person cannot be without a hearing aid for any amount of time, and so that's also something that we kind of know just about our patients, about who's going to need, care right away. But a lot of our patients don't know ASL. I don't know any ASL. And so that's something too that I would like to better myself and just, learn some basic ASL. But for all of our patients who are wearing hearing aids or cochlear implants, if their cochlear implant or their hearing aid stops working and they do not know ASL, they are totally isolated. And so we do try to, understand the importance of getting them taken care of right away.
Yeah. I was able to pull up your Instagram, so I'm going to show it here so that people can kind of see it and just kind of walk through it. But look how fun Kellina is here. So these are some of her different posts. We can look at the reels, but just very knowledgeable, fun. I think I watched you walk in somewhere. I forget which one it was, Kellina. But you were walking into something and just flopped into a chair and just said you were living the dream, basically, right? And maybe it was in one of your reels, but gosh, it was so cute. It was this one. It must have been this one. I remember the start of it. Yeah. So follow Deaf Queen Boss. This is her fun Instagram handle, right? So there she is right there. If you're on Instagram, follow her at Deaf Queen Boss. But I just wanted to bring that up because I just really liked your Instagram as well. And just want to get people to follow you there too. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So what would you say, not just audiologists this time, but kind of the general public? How can the general public be better deaf advocates?
Oh, that's a really good question. In general, I would say that don't be afraid to ask questions. And I think a lot of us are afraid to ask questions, especially knowing that it's something that they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So don't feel like you're going to ask a stupid question. There's no such thing as stupid question. Always ask. Always ask. Because the reason for that is because for me personally, I love when someone asks me, like, Kellina, how can we support you? Because you showing me that you care about my accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
And you want people to care that you do care. And it's very important. The second thing is always use a closed caption. I always tell people, don't forget to use a closed caption. Always be consistent. Don't just put one closed caption in one video and the next video, no closed caption. So don't do that. A lot of people, I see people do that a lot. And I'm like, no, put closed caption on everything. And third thing I would say is always be open-minded with everything that comes in your way. Just because you never know who will face a disability, you never know you will have a disability. You never know. Always be kind to everybody because everybody needs are very different.
I love that. Those are just good, wise words for everything in life too. But, I want to say, especially because hearing loss is something that's not necessarily seen. Like if you don't see a device being worn or whatever it is, like you don't know if a person has that hearing loss. And I do agree with your captions too. After we're done with this, then typically we go back and make sure that each of the social media sites does have captions, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Sometimes the captions are not always right too, so we've got to go in and edit them, but captions are really, really important. And if there aren't captions, then I would recommend for people to reach out to that person that put out whatever content it is and ask them. It's a pretty quick like flip of the switch, right, to turn on your captions. And so it's pretty easy. So again, if you notice like what Kellina was saying, like be consistent, and you see that one time they didn't have captions, like maybe send them a direct message, or something, and just say, hey, you normally have captions and I missed this one and I'm always tuning in, or like I love your content. Do you mind like turning on captions, or do you mind figuring it out where I can actually follow this a little bit better? So that's a great idea.
Well, and from a business owner perspective too, I mean, there's a lot of people scrolling through social media with the volume off. So you're missing an audience, whether it's, people that are deaf that need those captions, or just somebody that's scrolling by and they don't have the volume on, and otherwise they're going to miss your content because they're not able to like see what you're talking about. So I feel like from a business perspective too, it's important to be able for everybody to be able to access, your content. So I feel like we would appreciate such a comment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're glad that you're able to finally join us and just kind of share some great words of wisdom. And I just wanted to say that, when we have guests on and we have people, we put their contact information out here, so you can feel free to contact them. I'm going to try to get your website back up one more time here so that people can see, so you can grab Kellina's book as well. But also, like, let's say you're watching this later on, or somebody sent you a link to watch this on our YouTube or whatever it is, and you're like, man, I wish I could have reached out to Kellina. Reach out to us and let us know, because we're going to be able to kind of be, we've obviously got contacts and would love for you to get involved or reach out if you've got further questions. And so, as an advocate for people that have hearing loss, we want to make sure that, if questions come up down the line, online that they can kind of reach out. Or maybe you want somebody for what Kellina does, which is the mental health coach, right? So this is going to be her website one more time. I just wanted to put that up. And we have it up on the screen as well, but it's KellinaEmpowerment.com. And this is her book that she released within the last year, which was a bestseller on Amazon. And then also you can kind of learn a little bit more about what she does. And this is what was cool too, is that she does some counseling. And so there's different types of sessions if you want to be interested in that for mental health. So I think that's really cool, Kellina. So thank you so much. Was there anything else that you wanted us to cover or that you wanted to talk about before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. And I just wanted to say that, thank you so much for watching. If you do know someone that is going through mental health illness, definitely recommend them to me. And also to always be kind. Don't forget to live your life the way you want to and have fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Kellina, so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You too.
All right.